everybody, I'm here today with Nabil.
Hi!
Nabil is a cooking instructor at Andante Cooking Studio and we're celebrating Fasching today.
Viennese Carnival!
And Nabil
Cheers!
Cheers! And Nabil shows us today how to make Viennese Faschingskrapfen.
Delicious Krapfen. The Americans call them donuts, but they are filled with apricot jams, very, very fluffy.
Cheers!
Cheers! The most important thing is they have to be fluffy. And in Vienna, real Faschingskrapfen have no hole. Yeah? A Krapfen is filled usually, when it's produced, with an injection of apricot jam. But the original Krapfen has no hole. And I'm going to show you today the trick to make a Krapfen without a hole. The ingredients are, most important, we want a nice yellow fluffy yeast dough. Therefore we have 6 egg yolks. As I said, I'm going to use fresh yeast, 1 cube, or you can use a little sachet of dry active yeast. Very important for flavoring is delicious vanilla sugar, or you can take 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, and of course freshly grated lemon peel, as well as wonderful room temperature butter, some sugar, rum 40%, and milk. This is delicious Austrian Wachau apricot jam that is for the filling, and last but not least, very important for our flour to activate the gluten, is the salt, which we're gonna add on the sides to not be in contact with the fresh yeast. This is high gluten flour. All-purpose flour is also possible. We're gonna start with the wet ingredients. Now I have already put some salt, which is very, very important to activate the gluten in our flour. I've crumbled the yeast, I have sugar to activate our yeast. Give it some nourishment, a little bit of milk to dissolve the yeast. This is tepid milk, lukewarm, and you can see how easily the fresh yeast dissolves. You will do the very same thing with the dry active yeast. Now the yeast is dissolved. I'm going to add it to our flour. We need our 6 egg yolks, our softened butter, the sugar, the milk, our lemon zest, that's about half a lemon, and our vanilla sugar. And last but not least, and this is a big secret, because it helps the donut, or in this case our Viennese Krapfen, to not absorb too much fat in the frying process. A little bit of rum, 2 tablespoons. And now we're gonna gently mix this dough together until it's very smooth.
This smells so good.
You can of course use your KitchenAid at home, but this is much more fun. The most important thing is to beat this very sticky dough until you can see some bubbles. It's very important that you really beat this until you can see the bubbles and this very stringy consistency. Then enough gluten has developed in the dough. It is very sticky in the beginning, but do not worry, after 30 minutes it will be perfect. Perfect. And now we put our Krapfenteig, our wonderful dough, to bed and let it slumber and rest for 30 minutes until it's wonderfully activated and beautiful to work with. And meanwhile, the two of us are going to have another glass. Cheers, everybody. You should have one too. Angelika, look now. The baby has completely rested. You can see it's not sticky anymore. And now we can create those wonderful fluffy Krapfen. Our beautiful dough that we are going to knead on a floured surface. Always into the center. We're trying to build up a little bit tension in the dough. And now I'm going to roll out the dough for about half an inch. And then it's important that you have two cutters and one fits exactly in the other one with only 1/4 of an inch. Now it's important, flour a tea towel very well. It's like a bag that we're going to prepare for the final rising of our Krapfen. We start with a big cutter and we cut out circles. And you must imagine that we are going to fill apricot jam in this little piece of dough and lay another piece on top. And then we're going to cut it again. So now you see how it's going to happen. Seal the edges so our jam will not come out. I will put it here and take the smaller cutter. And here we have our Krapfen. In the 19th century it was usual to use apricot jam, but of course before everybody loved cherries, and I have special Amarena cherries that I'm gonna put and fill my Krapfen with. So we have 2 cherries in the center, and I will also just put another, let's have a third one. Let's not be stingy, people, okay? Let's put a third one inside. And we put another piece of dough on top and do exactly as with the apricot. Okay, just cutting it through to seal the edges. And now, because we have Fasching, and that's the real reason, we're going to use some mustard. I'm gonna make a mustard Krapfen for somebody, and nobody will know, because it's just gonna be one, who is gonna get the mustard Krapfen. And nobody can tell from outside, because it does not have a hole. And one person is gonna be, Krapfen, and then he's gonna bite on mustard. Ha ha ha. Jawohl.
I bet it's gonna be me.
No, Angelika. We will make a special sign on top of it. Here's another Amarena-Krapfen. This is very important. This is actually to measure the temperature for a roast, for meat. Yeah? But you can also use it for really measuring the right temperature for your frying fat. I'm using only vegetable oil. This is canola oil. It has a very, very high smoking point, but actually for frying donuts, or in this case Viennese Faschingskrapfen, the temperature is enough when it is just 160 degrees Celsius. It is only 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Be careful, the Krapfen has to fry and cook through completely. Therefore, a lower temperature is more effective than a higher. Otherwise your Krapfen will be burnt on the outside and undercooked in the center. So I will show you in a little bit when we start with which side goes in first. A little hotter, because when you put in the donuts or the Krapfen, the temperature will sink, yeah, and it should be exactly at 160 degrees. So we wait until it's about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we will put them in. The Krapfen will take about 25 minutes to rise and expand another third. Yeah? Then you know it's right. Do not let them rest too long. Okay? Good. So these go in a moment. There is just one last trick that you should always remember. The side that has been up now and has of course expanded more, you take it very gently and then you put it head first down into your frying fat. That is very important so that the other side can also expand. I will show you in a moment when I put the next batch in.
Oh wow, oh they look so delicious.
Here they are, beautiful Krapfen. You have to let them cool down and then sprinkle them when they're still a little warm with icing sugar. Now you can see head up, down first.
Okay, so you just turn them to the other side before you put them into the fat.
Exactly, and you can see now the other side can expand, and therefore you have an even Krapfen. All you have to do now, put some icing sugar on. The most important thing is when you bake fresh Faschingskrapfen and you become a real master in it, is this little white stripe around the Krapfen. This is an indication that it is fluffy and crispy at the same time. And now again, thank you very much, Angelika, for having the time with me and sharing this wonderful recipe. And again, a generous dusting of icing sugar